and it is the sport of bass fishing. And I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by Mark Bywater on the line, one of the top bass fishermen in South Africa. Mark, good evening. Welcome to the show.
How's it, John? How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well indeed. Now, you and I know each other from way, way back, and I've always harbored this jealousy because when I go away on holiday and there's a body of water nearby, I use a bit of time to chill out, and I might grab a fishing rod that I find lying around. I just hang something in the water and hope that something comes along. But fishing certainly is a science in some respects, and certainly it's hugely competitive as well. Bass fishing, even more so. We know what we see on the TV, both from the States and from around the world as well. But firstly, just tell us how you got involved in the sport.
Yeah, thanks, John. I think my passion for fishing began pretty much when I was a youngster, just shortly at the end of our schooling. And then when I left school as well, just cruising around on my scooter, looking for ponds and trying to just go catch whatever fish I could find. I just grew from there, enjoyed fishing and being out in the environment instead of indoors playing TV games. I prefer to play with my tackle box out on the dam. So, it's been a few years that I've been fishing for, and it's great. It's great to get outdoors.
Yeah, does it traditionally always start as perhaps a family or a close friends kind of environment? Is the fishing community very welcoming with open arms, or is it something that it's quite easily accessible?
Yeah, I think sometimes what makes it a little bit more difficult to access is for bass fishing, we've got to travel some distance down to Cape Town. We're going to places like Theewaarde's Kloof and Kwagga's Kloof and mainly our storage stand. So, for tournament competitiveness, it's a little bit difficult. But, the bass guys are always a great bunch of guys, the anglers, and they always welcome new guests and new members. And, join the local clubs and get to know the guys. And especially we've got a great junior circuit. I mean, we try and feed off of the juniors and get them involved in the sport from a young age. And we have a lot of seniors that do have boats and do have all the equipment, and they really put themselves out there and take time out to take the kids fishing. So it's great for the people that have got access to boats and cars and vehicles, but also for the youngsters that don't or don't have parents that enjoy fishing to get involved with.
You highlight the club scene there. I mean, if I didn't know you, I wouldn't have known kind of the scale of the sport. How widely practiced is it as a competitive sport in South Africa? Yeah, I mean it's fairly big. I wouldn't say it's on the scale as what it is in the USA, but we have quite a large circuit going at the moment, and spreads all throughout South Africa. We have a sort of what we call divisional championships, in the Western Cape, and then we extend that onto a national level where we have the top 50 anglers from all over South Africa competing for the top honors, to wear the green and gold. And we take the top 10 anglers from those 50 at the nationals, which happens once a year, and they go on to represent their country, which is, I don't know, I guess for any sport lover, that's the highest achievement you can achieve in sport, to represent your country. Yeah, and I mean, for those people wondering, I mean, you're a fully fledged member of SASCOC, if I'm not mistaken. That's competing for a green blazer, and to be a pro tier, like you said, it's very serious business for yourself and the rest of your competitors.
Yeah, it gets a bit competitive with the guys, and we put in a lot of time. I myself have taken a little bit of a break from that hardcore competitive scene, but it's a lot of time in, a lot of effort, a lot of time on the water, and affiliated to SASCOC, and we've got obviously club chairmen and chapters and presidents, and they attend at the highest level and conform with the SASCOC formalities, and we travel over the world, to the World Championships representing the country, and we seem to be doing extremely well. South Africa, I think, at the moment is ranked in the top 5 in the world, which is fantastic. And we have the World Championships being hosted in South Africa this year up in Johannesburg on the Vaal River, which is huge for our sport. Absolutely huge.
For people that might have come across it briefly, particularly via broadcast media, their perception of it might be what used to be shown, I think, on DSTV, ESPN. These big prize money competitions and very highly produced programs, which somebody with a very basic interest always found quite interesting. I mean, is that close to reality, or is that kind of overproduced, big hype American stuff?
Yeah, look. The Americans have got it all sorted. I mean, over in the States, when you're talking bass fishing as a sport, there's chaps there that is their job. It's their full-time job. They're traveling all over the States, fishing in the tournament. They'll typically win one tournament and earn themselves $100,000 US. Unfortunately, it's not like that down in South Africa, but we fish hard, and if we fish in a tournament and you win 10,000 Rand on a weekend, it's great. But for me and for a lot of the guys in South Africa, it's more so about, representing your country and getting on that world stage at a world championships and doing well, making your country proud. And as for the media coverage, I mean, unfortunately, we don't have as much coverage as we would like they do over in the States. But I think this year, I know I'm working on some media coverage for this World Champs event, and I think we're going to bring something really special and new to the South African viewers. Really open it up for, let's say, non-anglers to see what the sport is all about.
Okay, Mark, if you'll just wait there for a second, I've got a question from Yusuf. Yusuf, good evening.
Good evening. How are you guys?
I'm well, thank you. What would you like to ask?
Yeah, I was not really asked. I'm in the fishing tackle industry.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised to listen to the show that you guys talking about bass fishing. And the little input I can put, your colleague is talking about the circuit and the competitive side of things. But, fishing as a whole, besides bass fishing, the recreational, there is also what we call recreational fishing.
Yeah.
So we guys, instead of your kids playing on PlayStation the whole weekend or computers or stuff like that, it's just to take the kids out fishing, and there's a lot of places they can go to. And the one that it does for kids, it's unreal. It's unreal. And he's talking about the World Champs that's coming up on a Vaal, which opens up the sport of bass fishing to the South Africans, especially the novices and guys like that, is for them to even maybe attend the World Champs to see what it's about. And it's really, really exciting.
Okay, great. Yusuf, thank you very much for your call. Mark, there you have it. I mean, that's from a tackle shop owner. If I heard him correctly at the start, the line wasn't brilliant, but exactly what you're talking about, that this is a way that the sport can kind of seep and become more and more popular, and the World Champs is a real kind of gateway and access to many people for that.
Yeah, I think Yusuf made two great points there. I mean, the joy that you see on a kid's face when they catch their first fish. I know you're a dad and you fished a little bit with your son, and it's just outstanding.
Not very successfully, I must say.
Well, we'll take care of that shortly. It's great. I mean, getting the kids outdoors and into the sport is great. I put myself out there with the juniors as well. Try and spend as much time with them, taking them out on my boat, and for them to be on the water, on the dam, making fires and learning things in the outdoor, that's one key, really great, important part about the sport. And and having a World Championships, as Yusuf was saying, on the Vaal River is going to be great for our sport. I mean, the countries that are coming through, USA being the pioneers and the real true leaders in the sport of bass fishing and taking it to such a huge size. They're coming out here. They're flying out here with a film crew and a really, really top draw team. Some of the best in the sport are coming to the Vaal River, and they're going to be competing against our team. It's going to be a great event, and we're going to have some live coverage of the event, and we're going to have some edited coverage, and it's going to be great. So if you're not familiar with the sport of bass fishing, just on early October. there'll be some great coverage on that event.
Mark, just particularly at the competitive level, I think what's fascinated me is like with any sport, I suppose, is the technology involved. Bass, there's specific boats for bass fishing, which are obviously set up in you have to have wells because you have to take your 5 best fish or however it works back for weigh-in, and, there's small motors and any amount of lures. How, I know this might be difficult, but I mean, is it one of those sports where you can kind of spend exponentially? Is the technology changing all the time, or are there quite strict kind of rules around what can and can't be used in competition fishing?
Yeah, John, I think the rules are pretty set and standard throughout the world. Using all artificial lures. You're only allowed to fish with one rod and one reel at a specific time. But as it goes for lures, I mean, there's multi-million rand industries of tackle traders every year with a new lure, a new bait, a new color, a new rod, a new reel. And, it just keeps on going and going and going. And you really can, I mean, don't tell my wife, but you really can spend a fortune on fishing tackle. And
you're also a father, hey?
Yeah. If you look at the boats, I mean, there's imported boats from overseas. There's locally built boats. You can have a 50 horsepower. You can have a 400 horsepower engine. There's so much you can spend your money on. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to one lure, one rod, one reel, and one angler catching the fish. Technology-wise, there's a lot in it. Every year it's changing and things are different. And, depth sounders and fish finders are evolving from normal 2-dimensional scanning to 3-dimensional scanning and live viewing, and it can get very complicated, but that mustn't deter the individual that wants to get out and go fishing. The bottom line is get a rod and reel and just go fish. Don't worry about all the rest of the other technology and things. That comes at a later stage.
Okay, final one, Mark. This has been fascinating, but perhaps you want to give a little secret away on the show. I know no fishermen don't normally give away secrets, but if you are into your bass fishing, perhaps you're an amateur and you want to know what the latest thing is to buy, or you want to buy a gift for a bass fisherman or woman, what lure would you be recommending at the moment?
Oh, you put me on the spot there, John. Well, unfortunately, at the moment, with this weather and, our dam levels being super, super low, it really has put a lot of stress on our fishing at the moment. If I am going to talk about lures, I'm going to go with a big bite baits fighting frog. It's a bait that's proved itself. Big bite baits fighting frog.
Okay, I'm just telling my wife what to buy for me. Okay, yeah.
That's the one. That's what I would stick with. And get yourself a good rod and reel, some nice line, and just enjoy the sport. That's all.
Okay, Mark, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on and telling us all about the sport. We wish you, tight lines, I think we meant to say, and wishing you all the best. And we'll stay in touch and certainly keep a close eye on those World Championships out in the Vaal in October. Thanks for your time tonight.
Yeah, Jean, thanks very much for having me on the show. And if any of the listeners want to know more about the World Champs or anything like that, I've got a YouTube channel. It's called Just Fishing. You can check it out on YouTube. You can message me through those channels, or the good old social media, Facebook, and check out Just Fishing. And you can get all the links to the live coverage that we're going to have from the World Champs. And then you can also check out, what the sport is about and how we enjoy our time out on the water and help the juniors. There's a couple of videos and a few lessons perhaps there on how to catch a couple of bass. And I guess that's it. Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.